Welcome to Terrascape in a little video special together with the developers, with two of them, Nico and Lara from Bitfall Studios, a German developer. Hello, you two.
Hello, greetings.
We've often been out together before. Writing Bull, that's me. We're recording this right now for YouTube. You're getting a crash course video, a condensed tutorial that will help you get into the game quickly. We'll show you the many changes, including those from the 1-year early access phase. Now the full release is on the 17th. This video will be released on YouTube on July 17th at 2 post-meridium. Summed up in 2 or 3 sentences, Lara and Nico. Nico, what kind of game is this? I always say myself that it's a relaxed city builder game, a turn-based building game where you can also do some tinkering.
Yes.
You've already said it. In Terrascape, you build a city. And you start out pretty simply with rural buildings, and then you can unlock more and more buildings over time by collecting points.
For the full release, you're providing 5 new biomes and 3 new decks of playing cards. We'll show you how that works in a moment. New buildings, legendary building cards, and more. There's also a special offer at Games Planet around the release. That's a shop you cooperate with, and I cooperate with as well. I'll show it briefly on the screen. You can also find information about it below on YouTube. I have a community voucher code you can redeem, then buy the Steam key and use it on Steam. Do these final prices appear when you use the link and apply the code? There are 2 price tiers. This one lasts until July 30th. 2024, that's the price tier until August 31st. No grey market, otherwise these two wouldn't be in the picture here, they'd be shaking their heads right now. Single player mode, multiplayer co-op mode, and in single player mode there are these 3 things. There's also a tutorial which you can turn on or leave out. We'll leave it out since I have both developers here with me. And maybe you could briefly explain at the beginning what the 3 single player modes are that are available. Nico?
The Kingdom mode is the original mode, which is how Terrascape was initially designed. That means it's an endless mode, you just play until you run out of cards. The scenarios are self-contained, little stories that introduce you to the game and become more complex over time, each bringing its own little story. The puzzle terraces are small, self-contained puzzles that can be solved really quickly. Everything from 15 seconds to 15 minutes is included, and there are a whole lot of them.
Let's start with a scenario. We've completed the first one and then unlocked the second, and that's when you quickly get into the basic stuff. You start with different decks. Let's figure this out together now. We get a kind of preview of the world we have. You worked on this for quite a long time. You also received game funding from Medienboard Berlin Brandenburg, and I'm really happy about that. A lot has happened, I think. 1 year of early access, in case you've already seen earlier videos of mine about the game. There's a playlist up there. It will be displayed up here. There you can also discover more videos we've made together here. Here we start with many new screen elements and user interface on the left. A few things you can toggle on and off. You can turn the grid, the hex field grid, on and off. If you want, you can display the different resources available on the map individually so you can get an even quicker overview. However, everything is shown using 3D graphics. This is the option to display the buildings you've already constructed. We'll start right away with a keep, and there are more options. Keep, the central building. Is there a location where he thinks you should definitely start?
In fact, unlike most other buildings, the keep doesn't get any bonuses from surrounding resources. That's why I would say just pick a place where it's nice to have your own castle, because later in the game it might become really grand.
We may build many residential buildings nearby later. The area is fertile with plenty of berries and river bonuses. However, you usually can't build on them. There are mountains. I'll show you, see, there are relatively few here. We only have a high plateau in the middle. And I'll just place it here at the edge, up here, because there are plenty of berries everywhere. You really can't go wrong with that. What if you make a mistake while building? Use the undo button at the bottom right to go back. And we can also upgrade something right from the start and unlock the first decks, which are linked to 7 eras. and you unlock them as you progress through the game.
Nico, exactly, we've moved a bit away from the original ones. You randomly pick a card, since many players can't explain its origin. That's why we decided to set up a very simple tag tree, so, okay, what path did you follow? What do you unlock now? You start with basic resources, food and settlement.
I'll start with basic food. We unlock this down here and have this lid available, so it gradually progresses. Here you see 3 question marks at the top. We'll unlock more buildings for that later, and if you click down here on the bottom right, a deck will just pop up. That's what we just got, basic food. And at the moment, only one building, a gatherer's hut, is available to us. And in blue and red, it shows which penalties or bonuses, or I always say malus or bonus. And here there are advantages if you place it on grassland, and disadvantages if you place it near buildings, such as huts, rural and urban buildings, etc. We're keeping watch here, maybe for bears. You can see, for example, that was a good spot, but maybe not necessarily near the central building, the keep, because we'll be placing many other buildings next to it later. That's done. It could be a starting point. Now inside a hut you get big bonuses visible on both sides. Maybe Laura can explain more. A blue semicircle and an orange one. Those are points that gradually fill up and then unlock something. Lara, yes.
Exactly, you've earned some points by placing them. And the left bar, the blue one, shows you the progress you've made. Right. To unlock your next keep level, sorry, I'm still a bit in English mode, to unlock the next castle level. Because you can upgrade your keep, and whenever you can upgrade it, you can also choose a new deck. This blue bar shows your progress. You've already accomplished over 50%. The orange bar, on the other hand, shows you when you'll have a new card deck, meaning a new set of cards available. You already have 2, now it's 3, and now it's just become 4. Whenever the bar fills up, you get another one, and whenever you click the button and draw a new deck, of course it's one less.
We've unlocked the hunting lodge. Click here. The blue bar is full. Let's do that. Let's go into this new, small, narrow tech tweet that's available, and now let's unlock the settlement down here as well. That was just made possible because the keep would have leveled up. Now we can get huts and start building. One special feature here in the game, just to explain it, Nico, is that you actually get points whenever you place a building for the first time, so it's not every round, but only when you place a new building. Resources aren't generated, instead you get your reward when you place a building for the first time.
Yeah, it was a tough decision for us at first whether we should make a simulation or a so-called placement game. Some may recognize it from Islanders, Dorfromantik, or similar games. That means you place a building and have to consider what's in its vicinity and what it benefits from. You earn these points when you place it, and they don't return after that. That means you basically live in the moment here. So now you're looking for a nice spot for the hut here. And this in turn gives you more points for another building that you place afterwards. And that's why it keeps increasing more and more.
That's a nice way to say you live in the moment. Overall, I also find the game, Lara, very relaxing. You actually have 2 target groups. One group just wants to play peacefully, everything is peaceful, there's no war. Just play casually to relax and maybe earn some points after work. But you also have a second target group, those are the people who are record chasers. Do they get something in the game too?
Yes, we have a whole lot of them, and it's a very competitive field. We have what we call weekly challenges where we have a new little puzzle challenge every week. And it's linked to Steam leaderboards, and everyone who plays there gets a rank on this high score list. The top 10 spots are fiercely contested. There are some people who are really chasing after first place there even.
There's a second thing, that we can chase here. We can also unlock special building combinations. Since I've played a bit before, I'll place a hut up here and we get this a longhouse. So sometimes if you fit buildings together well, you get these large structures, and if you click on this arrow on the right side, they'll be displayed for you, and you can unlock them over time. In earlier games, I got the longhouse after unlocking the city district. You can still discover and find out about the royal forest and other buildings and others, and here you get this information displayed. Here's a quick tip. Click the large center hex tile to display information. For one, who you are, what your name is, what experience you already have, and how long the game has been running. And at some point you can also end or finish a scenario or a game and then move on to the next task. We'll go up here again. Now you also have terraforming in the game.
Nico. Oh yeah, plenty. Since you just combined a building or fused it, you might have noticed that the environment around it has changed. You can see small paths here, sometimes with a signpost or a wayside shrine. We now have many extensive biomes, including the village biome, where this large building shapes its surroundings. But you can also see the terraforming in the deadwood hedges, where these different heights are marked. We have many special cards, which shows we're working. Compared to the early access release a year ago, today we work much more with terraforming, which is more passive though.
We'll add a few more huts and see if we make progress. And it's like this. If you build something here and place it on something that another building benefited from in the past, you don't lose points retroactively, because you live in the moment. The order you build in is smart, so if you plan to make another longhouse, consider how you place the huts, and try to score as many points as possible. Let's continue with the food and place another hunting hut somewhere. There are also these resources in the game, so this, I don't know, wild game, for example, you can see it here in the middle. We'll have more of that later. Here you can, I'll just show it here by displaying the resources differently. You can see wild game and fish here. There's so much to discover. And by now you've worked on the game for a long time. There's also a high visual appeal. There's more and more. The environment is lively. That wasn't the case at the beginning. Wild animals and people are moving around. A little tip, you can also adjust the level of liveliness a bit in the settings. For example, even more people walk around the world. How many developers are there in your team?
There are 5 of us at the moment. In 2020, we had programmers, a 3D artist, a 2D artist, everything was included.
I'll keep working a bit on the basic food, and meanwhile I'll place a few buildings. Maybe you could tell us a bit about what originally inspired you to make this game?
The original inspiration? The very original idea for Terrascape came from the thought of playing a civilization party that lasts less than 45 minutes in multiplayer. And that's basically how the game was created. We all come from a bit of a strategy background and really enjoy these kinds of games. And we thought, let's create our own story with Terrascape, but one that's suitable for an indie studio. In terms of scale, gameplay, and game speed, it fits us well. And that's how the idea came about. We combined the things we liked from some games with mechanics from other games, and we thought, why not adopt this district building system from Civilization and mix a bit of that in? That's essentially how the game's core idea originated.
We've just unlocked a wheat field. Later production chains will be simulated differently than in other city builders. Goods are not produced every minute or turn and brought to other buildings. But you can place buildings next to each other, and that's how these production chains are symbolized. In the game, maybe we get a little indication of that. With the wheat field, we place it there. You can see on the right again and in the middle what gives bonuses. Plenty of grass and a nearby river make this area ideal. Let's look for a connection to the grass field, maybe up front. Let's place a bit more there. I interrupted you, so that was the original approach. to implement a kind of zip in a turn-based way, but also a bit differently. Here,
this raises the question, what makes the game unique? We went our own way. The basic idea naturally came from inspiration from other games or from other things. By the way, Clipwunsch, you got a legendary.
oh, and that's the one up here, which today here had range by 1, influences on other biomes. I just got lucky, you know. You have to be lucky sometimes too. There's also a small element of randomness in the game, although at its core it's a puzzle game. Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. It's a puzzle game. Basically, you place the buildings as efficiently as possible together, and you have to understand the economic dependencies behind them so you can use them effectively. Sure. Should I add something?
On the left, there's the objective. Place hut buildings with a silver rating. Then something cool will happen. Let's see if I can place 2 more buildings, one here in the front and one over here. Now I'm at 8 and we've actually received a new challenge. Can you say it like that?
Yes, you're playing the scenario right now, and in this scenario the goal is to complete all the main quests. Once you've done that, those are the green ones, you'll unlock the next scenario. There are also optional quests. Those are the blue ones. You don't necessarily have to do them, but it's actually pretty cool to work on them from time to time, because quests can also give you rewards.
The game is, of course, much more complex than what we're showing here as an introduction. It's not just about huts, it's not just about gatherers' huts and hunting. Maybe you could list off everything there is to discover in terms of game elements, all the things we can't show all at once on screen right now.
Sure, I mean in terms of content and buildings, we now have over 48 buildings in total across 13 different decks, each of which plays completely differently. Plus another 5 or 6 buildings that are independent of the decks and can be earned in completely different ways. I'd rather not reveal that right now. And there are a total of 20 combination buildings. Compare. A year ago we had 3, now there are 20 and you can find them all. We have 7, 8, 9 biomes on the maps, which means including lakes, including the sea, with village landscapes, with rural areas, with urban areas, and so on. That hasn't come up in this scenario yet, so it's clearly increasing. And the terras, the maps, they're all procedurally generated up to a certain point. We can also intervene to influence and control it somewhat. For example, on the scenario, these scenarios never look the same, but they have roughly the same feeling. So in this scenario, it's more green with a few lakes, a bit of forest, very cozy. And there are some very difficult ones. For example, if you look into hard maps, so higher difficulty levels, and then they look completely different. Lara can probably add a bit more about the mechanics.
You've already mentioned almost everything. We have a lot of decks. You can also take a look at them, for example, by clicking the blue button on the left again. There you can also get an overview.
Which button?
The one with the castle on it.
Ah, right, that's the tech tree we already looked at briefly, reason after relocation. The levels we unlock here were already explained earlier. That's connected to the keep. When it levels up, the other things become available, and that's what we're gradually unlocking here.
In this scenario, there are only 2, unfortunately.
Still, there's a whole lot to discover. Do you already have plans for the future? Will you keep supporting this game after release, or is version 1.0 the final update? This is our masterpiece, and after that, it won't continue.
We've worked closely with the community over the years. As you've noticed, we have 2 target groups: relaxed builders who build at their own pace and don't care about points, and even mid-core and hardcore strategists who want to maximize it. And we've received a lot of feedback from both sides, a lot of great ideas, and we've been able to implement many of them. But there's still a lot we're considering whether we should include it or not. We definitely want to add a few more things. They're important to us, so we want to include them, and we'll keep working on the game. There are definitely future projects, but I don't want to reveal anything about them yet.
No spoilers here, maybe we can unspoil that here if I see it correctly. 3 collector huts placed next to each other. For demonstration, I'm not focusing on the points right now. Now let's put one here in the front, and do you see what did we get? Oh, that's completely new for me too. We've unlocked an orchard, it's really beautiful. Yes, that's just a rough overview, really only with the very simplest first production chains. There's much more to discover. I'll ask you on YouTube when the video comes out, would you be interested in seeing a little series from me where I show you some more challenging maps? That wouldn't be a Twitch series. A lot of my content is created live on Twitch and then later published on YouTube. Every now and then there are also video specials like this one, for example. If you'd like to see a little series from me where I play through a different map completely, where you get to see more, feel free to write it in the comments. Reminder, Kuni Dubchenko is on Games Planet. There are things to discover here together for 2 target groups and at 2 price levels. Feel free to leave it here. Thank you very much for being here with us. This is a first introduction to the game, and I wish you all lots of fun going forward. When playing and discovering on your own, I wish all the viewers among you a good and lucky hand in choosing your next project. And it would be a great pleasure for me to show that together with you again. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.